I spent almost $500,000 on my boyfriend during the half-year relationship between an older woman and a younger man. But he never takes me to meet my classmates, and he pretends to be single in his circle of friends. Just because I am 8 years older than him, he thinks I am old. One day my boyfriend forgot to hang up the voice call. I heard his school hunk roommate commenting on me. 8 years older, not even a dog can talk. Good, I took note of this cold voice. Later, on an ordinary evening, the school hunk stopped my car and begged me to help him. I said, "I can help you, but you have to be a dog first." School prince? At this moment, the young school hunk didn't know. It wasn't long before he was tortured by his sister. 1. I had a 10-minute video chat with Simon Price. He began to get impatient. "Sister, I'm sleepy. Let's leave it at that for today." Without waiting for my answer, he quickly cut off the video, but forgot to hang up the voice. I heard him talking to someone. Hurry up, row 5. I've got a date with the schoolgirl." His roommate joked. "Being in a relationship is so tiring, you might as well break up." Simon replied. "Sisters are clingy and can't be shaken off." Lie. It was obvious that he didn't want to share. Because he can't bear to part with my money. I poured myself a glass of red wine and continued listening. Simon's roommates were still laughing at him. "You refuse to take her out to play. Is it because the rich woman is too old to be presented to you?" Simon didn't deny it. Enter the game. Simon invited a schoolgirl. The schoolgirl is very good at acting cute and kept praising Simon's limited edition skin for being so handsome. Simon waved his hand and said he would give her one. Of course, I used the pocket money I gave him. After the game was over, the schoolgirl went to bed happily. As soon as she left, the topic of the men's dormitory came back to me. Someone suddenly spoke up. "Ethan Barnes, what do you think? What are you looking at? What do you think of Simon's 8-year-old sister-brother relationship?" Silence for 2 seconds. A cold voice sounded. 8 years older, not even a dog can talk. 2. I'm a bit voice-controlled. Simon was chosen among so many younger brothers because he has a nice voice. But at this moment my mind was wandering. Ethan. I remember this person. Simon's roommate is said to be a school hunk. He doesn't talk much, but he is very popular with girls. Whenever Simon mentioned him, there was always jealousy in his tone. Ethan has good grades and outstanding looks. Such people are the focus wherever they go. Standing next to him, Simon became a foil. But Ethan's family is poor. Simon's ego does not allow him to be a foil for the poor. I didn't expect Ethan to have this voice. It's more to my taste than Simon's voice. It should sound better when you breathe. I hung up the phone and made a plan in mind. My boyfriend is disobedient. Then change it. 3. I like dating my brother. Firstly, I'm busy with work, and I want some emotional value. Secondly, my brother is young and energetic and I can enjoy it. Including Simon, I have 11 brothers, enough to form a football team. I never hesitate to spend money on my brother. I spent nearly $500,000 in the 6 months I was negotiating with Simon. He is wearing all branded clothes, all bought by me. The $500,000 is very important to him. It allows him to walk around the campus with ease, and also attracts the admiration of many female students. But for me, it's just one less bag to buy. I pay and my brother does the work, it's fair. But I never expected it. Simon, who is always well behaved in front of me, secretly dislikes the age difference between us. That's perfect. I'm tired of playing too. This weekend it's Simon's birthday. He held a birthday party in my villa. I arrived at 9 o'clock in the evening. The party has been going on for a while and it's very lively. Simon lost the game and was punished to do push-ups. But not just any push-up. A schoolgirl lay under him, covering her face shyly. Every time Simon fell, he almost kissed the schoolgirl. The whole audience started to boo. Kiss it, kiss it. Simon, can you do this? Men can't say no. Simon was provoked and for the last time he lowered his body very low. It seems that they are about to kiss. I opened the door of the villa and just happened to see this scene. 4. Everyone fell silent and looked at me curiously. Simon was stunned. The originally flushed face gradually lost its color. Why are you here? This is my house, I can't come? Aren't you working overtime tonight? I've finished my overtime work and came to celebrate your birthday. I kicked off my red-soled high heels and walked in with ease. Someone whispered, "Simon, isn't this house yours?" "Yes, you said this house was given to you by your parents." Simon pursed his lips and said guiltily, "She is my sister." I smiled a little. No rebuttal. 5. College students usually don't have any bad intentions. After Simon finished speaking, they enthusiastically made room for me. "Oh my God, Simon, your sister is so beautiful. Why haven't you mentioned her before?" "Simon, your sister has better genes than you. She looks like a celebrity." "Sister, there's an empty seat over here. What kind of juice would you like?" "I'll pour it for you." "Thanks." After I took my seat, I glanced at Ethan. He doesn't get along with Simon. Simon invited him here today purely to show off. He was shoved into a corner, didn't interact with anyone, and seemed to have no interest in anything. I joined the game and was quickly named by the king. The king asked me to choose one of the opposite sex present and have a safe kiss with him. The so-called safe kiss is kissing for 10 seconds through a playing card. Simon looked at me, his expression conflicted. He didn't want to acknowledge our relationship. And she doesn't want to see me kissing other boys. He was hesitant about whether to stand up on his own initiative. My eyes passed directly past him and pointed to Ethan beside him. "You're the one." 6. Simon stood up quickly. "No. Why not? You can't choose him. I will complete this punishment with you." "Don't be ridiculous. We are siblings, how can we do such a disgusting thing?" "That's right, you little brother, move aside." "Simon, are you a sister complex?" Everyone echoed and expressed that they could not accept it. I sneered and pretended to be helpless. "If this doesn't work, my parents will beat us to death." Simon's face brilliant. He told this lie. It's too late to explain now. Ethan remained silent throughout the entire process. Until he was pushed in front of me. The boy raised his eyelids and spoke in a lazy voice. "You're not Simon's sister," he said in a voice that only I could hear. "You're his girlfriend. You know." I looked at him with a smile. "So are you excited?" Ethan scoffed. "I'm not interested in other people's girlfriends." "It doesn't matter. I'm just interested in you." Ethan was slightly stunned. I had already picked up the playing cards and put them to his lips. Before he could react, I kissed him gently. 7. Simon, Ethan is your brother-in-law from now on. After the game was over, everyone cheered like this. Simon clenched his fists. His eyes were gloomy, looking back and forth between Ethan and me. Afterwards, as if in revenge, he continued to block the drinking for his schoolmate. He even deliberately acted flirtatious with his schoolmate. He thought this would make me bow my head. Too naive. Simon doesn't know yet that he has no say in this relationship. As soon as the birthday party is over, I broke up with Simon straight away. Simon was furious. "Jenna Sullivan, did you do this on purpose tonight? You know I hate Ethan the most. You can play games with your junior schoolmate, and I can play games with your roommate, it's fair. My junior is a bit socially anxious. There's no one she knows here today, so it's my duty to take care of her. Don't insult social phobia. A social phobia person wouldn't lie under a boy in front of so many people. Jenna, don't think of my junior with your dirty thoughts." I looked at Simon and it was hard to connect with the gentle and obedient him at the beginning. He didn't just rot away suddenly. He just hid it well at first. I said, "Then you can continue to take care of her." "What's the meaning?" "It means we break up." Simon was stunned for a moment but soon laughed. "You're using breaking up with me to get angry? You know I won't take that. It's none of my business whether you eat or not." Security. As soon as he finished speaking, several security guards rushed in and dragged Simon out. "I'm not going to bother with you for now about holding a party in my room without my permission and making a mess. If you do that again, I'll call the police." "Simon? You must be kidding. Do you know what the consequences are of calling the police?" I interrupted Simon. "I will report it to your school. Even if your counselor wants to suppress it, it's useless. I will do my best to make sure your report appears in every corner of the school, even in the media. If you don't believe me, let's try it." "Don't." Simon finally realized that I was not kidding. He stared at me hatefully, his eyes full of resentment. "Break up? I've wanted to break up for a long time. Who the hell wants to date an old woman? Jenna, look at you, you dress so maturely every day. You don't have any youthful energy at all. Just a few bucks. I'm only happy when I'm with my junior school girl. In that case, take off all the clothes I bought you. The security guard started to strip Simon's clothes without saying a word. In the end, he was left with only his underwear. I ignored Simon's insults and said, "You opened my bar tonight, totaling $600,000. The bill will be sent to your school later. I hope you can pay it back soon, otherwise we'll see you in court." Jenna, what the hell? I raised my cell phone and pretended to call the police station. He closed his mouth in fear. "Go away, you stupid thing." After cursing, I turned around and went back to the house. The nights in early spring are not very warm. A boy like him who regards money as dirt, surely he can walk back to school barefoot, right? 8. Simon soon got together with his schoolmate. I heard that he also wants to help his junior apply for social assistance. The so-called social aid means that entrepreneurs come to the school to do charity, select a poor student and provide financial support until graduation. This doesn't happen often, and there's only one spot available. The final round of screening is the interview. Simon was waiting in the classroom with his schoolmate. He vowed, "I am very familiar with the cadres of the student union. You are sure to win this time." The schoolgirl lowered her voice. "But we forged our family background, which is not good." "Don't worry, no one's checking." He hugged his schoolmate affectionately. "I've made all the connections for you, but you still don't trust me?" As they were talking, the other candidates arrived one after another. Among them is Ethan. He found a corner and sat alone, his thin back looking very frail. The schoolgirl glanced at him and said, "I heard that Ethan's family is really in trouble. What's the point of difficulties? He has no connections. If he doesn't find someone to do the work, the quota won't be his." Simon said proudly. But he didn't know. Everyone's words and actions were broadcast to the next office via a micro camera. The funding assessment begins the moment you enter this classroom. Simon continued to speak out. "I have carefully polished your resume and background to ensure that there are no loopholes. Those rich people are too busy to look closely. When the sponsor comes, just cry. The more pitiful, the better." In the office, the school leader was sweating profusely. "Ms. Jenna, I didn't know these two students were like this. I will chase them away now." "No need," I said casually. "The interview can end now." "Okay, this way please." In the classroom, Simon was still instructing the female junior. The school leader pushed open the door and said, "The sponsor is here." Their eyes immediately lit up and they looked towards the door. I met their gazes and walked in. 9. This is Ms. Jenna, one of the shareholders of the Sullivan Group. Simon's eyes widened. I told him before that I run my own business and have a little money. I didn't tell him about my relationship with the Sullivan Group. Of course, he didn't check it online either. The junior schoolmate whispered, "Senior, so the relationship you are talking about is your sister?" Simon broke out in a cold sweat. Following his instructions, the schoolgirl began to squeeze out tears. I found her dry, acting inexplicably funny. "Why are you crying?" "Sister Jenna, my family is in financial difficulty." "Stop acting, the interview is over." "Ah." The schoolgirl was stunned. "It's over." I asked someone to project it on the blackboard. All the scenes that were filmed were released, including what Simon said. "From the moment you enter the classroom, you are already being interviewed." The school leader was so angry that he slammed the table. Some students fabricated their backgrounds in an attempt to obtain financial aid. The school will hold them accountable. There will be no tolerance. The schoolgirl was stunned. The next second, she burst into tears. This time I really cried, not acted. I announced the list of grantees this time. She is a girl from the Faculty of Arts. Everyone was a little surprised. Her grades weren't the best. Ethan seemed like a better fit than her. But I checked the backgrounds of these students. Without my financial support, the girl would have to drop out of school next semester and go home to marry an older man to earn dowry money for her younger brother. She worked and studied day and night just to escape from that blood-sucking family. I saw her determination, so I was willing to help her change her destiny. I signed a sponsorship agreement with the girl. I listened to the school's apology for another half an hour. After finishing all the work, it was already evening. I was about to leave when Ethan suddenly stopped my car. Will you consider the quota again? 10. I really need this opportunity. I beg you to reconsider it. Ethan doesn't seem to be good at asking for help. The knuckles of his fingers turned white from tension. I shook my head. The agreement has been signed and cannot be changed. I'm really short of money right now. I know your mother is seriously ill. I did background checks on everyone. Ethan's background is also quite sad. He is a single parent and was raised by his mother. She fell ill after never having a good day. Now, there is no money even for medical treatment. Ethan said, I have put all my tuition and scholarship money into medical expenses. If I don't have any financial aid, I will have to drop out next semester. I'm sorry, but there are hundreds if not thousands of students like you. Over the years, I have been doing charity work silently. I have sponsored more poor students than he could imagine. It is not uncommon for elders to be seriously ill and unable to afford tuition and medical expenses. Ethan lowered his eyes to hide his embarrassment. At Simon's birthday party, you said you were interested in me. Did I say that? I pretended to be surprised. I forgot. He bit his lip hard. It seems like he is still struggling with his self-esteem. If you have nothing else to do, I'll leave first. Etc. Ethan suddenly grabbed the car window, as if he had made up his mind. You accepted me. I can do everything Simon can do. Just waiting for this sentence. I curved my lips into a smile. Then I have to try it first. 11. Ethan came to my house. To ease his nervousness, I opened him a bottle of wine. After drinking alcohol, he became a lot bolder. He reached out and unbuttoned my shirt. The movements were disorganized and somewhat hasty. I said, That's not how it works. Ethan, have you ever been in a relationship? No. He was a little embarrassed. It's my first time. No wonder your hands are so clumsy. He was stimulated and suddenly used his teeth. As if to vent his anger, he bit open the last button. The cold lips rubbed against my back, causing a burning sensation. Ethan shuddered. His legs were pressed against my skin. It's hot, I said. Considering his inexperience, I spoke patiently. I'll tell you what to do. But before he could finish his words, Ethan blocked their throats with a kiss. There was no order to the kiss, it was almost reckless. But his breathing became more rapid. I heard that boys are naturally gifted in some things, and can learn them without any guidance. Ethan is one of those people. After the initial awkwardness, he quickly mastered the rhythm and became familiar with it. The young man's thin waist is like a mountain. It moved rapidly and even violently. He picked me up and put me on the table. This is my desk when I work from home. Ethan picked up the pen and slid it across my tailbone. The metal was cold, and I almost cried out when it touched my skin. Sister, have you and Simon done it here? I shook my head. He smiled contentedly. The low gasps in my ears became the best catalyst. I never get tired of hearing Ethan's voice. Early morning. Ethan finally let me go. When I woke up from sleep, he was still beside me. I asked, Why don't you go back to school? You haven't answered me yet. What's the answer? After the alcohol wore off, he returned to his cool and reserved self. But his shyness was hidden in his half-closed eyes. Have I passed? I passed. I jumped out of bed. My legs felt a little weak. I've dated more than a dozen younger brothers, but Ethan is the only one who can make me weak in the knees. I will cover your mother's medical expenses, your tuition, living expenses, and everything else. I will arrange for your mother to be transferred to a private hospital and stay in the VIP ward this afternoon. Thanks. You're welcome. The more you work, the more you get. Ethan began to think about the meaning of more work, more pay. As he said he understood, he took off his shirt and pushed me onto the bed again with his head down. It's great to be young. 12. I've been with Ethan for a while. We unexpectedly got along well. We are like a pair of friends who met too late. Ethan also went from being wary of me to trusting me. He often suffers from insomnia in the dormitory. On the contrary, he can sleep soundly next to me. The news that Simon and his junior schoolmate had falsified their backgrounds spread throughout the school. On the day of the interview, there were many people in the classroom. It's hard for them not to be popular. I heard that the two broke up. The junior complained that Simon gave a bad idea, and that she would not have planned to do so if Simon had not instigated her. Simon became the target of public criticism and was ostracized and isolated by the entire school. Both of them were given a warning, which will be in their files for the rest of their lives. Simon still owed me money for drinks and had to sell the things I bought for him. I was applying medicine to Ethan when he told me this. Simon was helpless and furious, blaming Ethan for everything, and injured him. I was applying the medicine while feeling distressed. I'm so mad, I'm going to call the police to arrest him. Call the police? No, I'm not seriously injured. It doesn't matter how serious the injury is. I just can't get over this. Ethan looked at me and said nothing. I poked his face. What are you staring at? Are you angry? Angry at me? Nonsense, are you stupid? Ethan wasn't stupid. He was just a little dazed. He comes from a poor family and is a single parent, so he has been bullied a lot in the past. Bullying in schools is also commonplace. So he was used to it a long time ago. This was the first time someone was angry with him. This feeling is very strange, like something is expanding in the heart, sour and long-lasting. Ethan suddenly lifted me into his lap. Wait a minute, you haven't finished wiping it yet, I said. He didn't listen and kissed me randomly. His hand was on my leg, not honestly, and reached all the way into my skirt. Hey Ethan, what's wrong with you? He was particularly proactive today. I don't know, he said blankly. It seems that only by kissing you can I calm down. The medicine bottle fell to the ground. He finally turned this kiss into something deeper. A week later, I accompanied Ethan to a competition. He loves road cycling, but due to family burdens, he could only be a spectator. This was the first time he participated in a competition as an amateur driver, although he didn't even have a decent racing car. I asked someone to get me the chance to participate. The car was also given to him by me. This is a friendly match. It was Ethan's first time participating and his results were surprisingly good. He ran up to me holding the Outstanding Participation Award. Look, I'm talking to the organizers. I have several friends among the organizers. Jenna, what is your relationship with this contestant? Friends looked at us curiously. Is he your boyfriend? My boyfriend is very handsome. Amid the speculation, someone suddenly sneered. How is that possible? His clothes don't seem to fit him well. How could Jenna like him? I know this person who speaks harshly. I once had a blind date with this man, but I rejected him in the end. I heard that the other party is very concerned about his reputation and has been holding a grudge until now. Ethan's competition uniform was borrowed from a classmate. It really doesn't fit. Ethan looked at the other person's neat suit and subconsciously wanted to cover his own hem. I'll go to the side first. He was afraid of embarrassing me, so he turned around and left. But I grabbed him. Yes, he is my boyfriend. I dragged Ethan in front of my friends, my tone proud. 14. Several friends were shocked. Especially that petty man, it's unbelievable. He. What's so good about him? It doesn't matter where you are. I just like it. If you don't agree, there's no need to talk too much. I said goodbye to my friends and left with Ethan. On the way home, Ethan finally came to his senses. Sister, why did you say that just now? Say what? You said I was your boyfriend. Isn't it? Ethan was stunned for a moment. I thought I was just a nobody. Canary. No need to feel inferior, Ethan. You have good grades and outstanding looks. It would be a shame if you didn't become my boyfriend. Besides, when did I ever say you were just a canary? He was somewhat moved. Really? Really? You're the 12th brother I've ever dated, and my favorite one. 12. Oops, I accidentally said that. I quickly made up for it. I'm going to invite some good friends to my house for dinner in a few days, and then I'll formally introduce you to everyone. To me, it makes no difference whether he is a boyfriend or a canary. But Ethan longs to be respected. Then I will give him respect. When I got home, the men's clothing I ordered was also delivered to my door. I said to Ethan, "Here, go change and try. Next time you don't have anything to wear, be sure to tell me. I can just borrow it from someone." Ethan glanced at the tag. This is too expensive. I am happy. The younger brothers I dated before always clamored to buy him new clothes. The more expensive the better. Only Ethan was considered too expensive as a gift. I ran my fingertips over his abs. If you think it's expensive, then find a way to pay it back to me. Ethan lowered his head and kissed my fingertips reverently. I just finished the game and went to take a shower. Go ahead. But he didn't let go of my hand. His eyes were dark and moist as he looked at me. Let's take a shower together. Without waiting for my answer, Ethan picked me up and went into the bathroom. This was the longest shower I have ever taken. Ethan took care of every corner of my body. I found out that he had become a bad person. He was no longer as shy as he was at the beginning, who only knew how to work hard. Now, he not only tests me but also observes my reaction. Do you like it here? Or here? As soon as he spoke, a tingling electric current ran through my brain. They are obviously already very familiar with each other. But he pretended not to understand and asked me on purpose. As long as I nodded, he would let me feel his rampage. Sister, am I your favorite among the 12 people? Yes, I like you the most. I don't know how much time passed. Ethan, I really don't have the strength anymore. I leaned limply in the bathtub and felt like I was melting. But Ethan said, just hold me up. You don't have to do anything. Do you want to continue? Well, not enough. He sucked my earlobe and said, Sister, in fact, I thought of this scene during the day. I was stunned. When? I rode to the end and found you waiting for me. Ethan's voice was low and gentle. I didn't get a place, but you were happy for me from the bottom of your heart. At that moment, I looked at you and had a strong urge. I want to rub you into my body and give you everything I have. After saying that, he seemed a little shy and lowered his head to kiss me deeply. My sobs, my joy. They were all swallowed by the young man. 15. Ethan didn't know what he meant by what he said. It's not a confession, but it's better than confession. At the beginning, he only regarded Jenna as a boss. He had never thought about having a relationship with a younger man, and originally thought that it would be very difficult. But when he spent the first night with her, he was surprised to notice the changes in his heart and body. He didn't need to mobilize himself deliberately. The sea of desire was already surging. Those looks of being unable to stop are not fake. He liked the way her cheeks blushed and she gradually lost herself in his arms. I also liked to see her calm and at ease. Ethan thought it was just a sequelae of physiological impulse. Or maybe he just likes his sister's style. It was only after I met Jenna that I was discovered. But, things gradually went off the rails. They were so chatty. Jenna was like the soul mate he had been missing for many years. The body is also extremely in tune. When he couldn't see her, he began to miss her. I think of her sharp and cold eyes, and the black stockings and high heels under her skirt. Ethan always had to take a cold shower. This is very wrong. Sometimes just being with Jenna and doing nothing, just by smelling the scent of her perfume, Ethan felt that the world was so beautiful. Until today, he learned that he was only the 12th. Possessiveness and jealousy erupted instantly. Am I the best one? Will she like me the most? These questions lingered in his mind. In the end, it turns into teeth marks on the shoulder and whispers beside the ear. He heard Jenna say, Yes, I like you the most. At that moment, my heart swelled up and my whole body felt like it was electrocuted. Even if I die immediately, it seems worth it. Jenna bought him many gifts. Ethan suddenly wanted to give her one as a token of love. He calculated carefully. Only 8 years older, just right. He will try his best. I hope she doesn't despise herself for being childish. 16. Ethan got busy. He picked up part-time jobs again. He said he didn't want to keep spending my money and he wanted to earn money to buy things for me. This is really novel. I have never seen such a brother. I asked my best friend Sophie. She gasped. Jenna, this brother is going to get on you. What? Obviously, he doesn't want to just be your canary. Is that so? I thought he was fed up and was going to pay the money and run away. I really admire you, Sophie said speechlessly. If he really wanted to run away, he wouldn't buy anything for you. There is only one possibility at the moment. He wants to stay with you and become your permanent partner. You are so understanding. Well, to be honest, the one in my house is. As they were talking, Sophie's boyfriend came over with drinks. A handsome guy who is 188 centimeters tall. Once upon a time, he was one of the little puppies around Sophie. Now he is my fiancé, Sophie said to her boyfriend. Tell Jenna quickly, what did you do when you fell in love with me? Her boyfriend counted on his fingers. Study, work, and make money. If I want to be worthy of Sophie, I must have enough strength. Yes, that's it. Sophie bit the straw and spoke earnestly. From what I can see, your Ethan has just entered this stage. I smiled and didn't quite believe it. After all, Ethan himself said that he wouldn't even talk about dogs 8 years older. I originally planned to have dinner with Sophie before leaving. She glanced at her phone and suddenly called me. Jenna, is your Ethan's name Ethan? Yeah, what's wrong? Look at this. She looked serious and pushed the phone in front of me. This is a live broadcast. The gray-haired old man stood on the top floor, tears streaming down his face. He held a photo in his hand. Look, everyone. This is my unfilial son Ethan. If I die today, it's all because of him. 17. The number of viewers in the live broadcast room has been soaring. I glanced at the comments and got a general idea of what happened. The old man claimed to be Ethan's biological father. He said Ethan was cold and indifferent to his family. Ethan's brother was seriously ill and his old father was desperate, so he asked him for help, but he avoided him. In desperation, the old man went to the rooftop and threatened to commit suicide. The name Ethan quickly became a hot search on the short video platform. Many netizens were outraged. I can't stand this kind of unfilial son. He's just wasting air by being alive. I found out that he is from the finance department of University A. The school has officially notified him. I am waiting for the result. I feel sorry for the old man. He has been forced into a dead end. Some people are calmer. I suggest that you don't take sides easily. Aren't there many reversals these days? Whisper, this old man has been live streaming for a long time, constantly criticizing his son, but he hasn't taken a single step forward. However, they were soon attacked by the crowd. Do you have any conscience? The old man is almost dying. How can you turn things around? 666. You must be someone like Ethan. Public opinion is like a tide of beasts, ferocious and cruel. I'm not going to eat anymore and I'm going to go home right away. Sophie, before I leave, I want to ask you for a favor. Clear. There is a tacit understanding between Sophie and I. She knows it without me having to say anything. This kind of suicide live broadcast does not comply with the platform regulations. I'll find someone to see if I can shut down the live broadcast room first. Thank you. 15 minutes later, I arrived home. Ethan has no class today. The curtains in the house are drawn, giving off a decadent vibe. He was sitting on the carpet and didn't react when he heard me come back. I didn't waste any time and asked directly, "Is Brandon Evans your father?" "Yes." The answer is a bit unexpected. "You told me that you only have a mother, not a father." I lied. "I'm sorry." I sat cross-legged next to him. "Tell me what's going on. Aren't you angry?" He was a little surprised. "Let me hear your explanation first, and then decide whether to be angry or not." I smiled at him. Our sisters are more rational and won't lose their temper easily. Ethan pursed his lips and spoke. "That man is my mother's and my nightmare. I was born out of wedlock. It's quite common, a bastard." "No, it's a little different." Taking a deep breath, Ethan said slowly, "My mother was forced." 18. My eyes widened instantly. I couldn't believe my ears, but I didn't dare to repeat the word. When she was 18, she was forced into pregnancy by a man who was almost 40. Because she was poor and had never been to college, she didn't know how to protect herself, so she gave birth to me in a daze. Ethan's tone was calm. It was as if this incident had weighed on his heart and tortured him for 20 years. Brandon never cared about us, never. He even threatened us that if we dared to destroy his family, he would die with us. He was a very extreme person. How could a man who could commit such a crime as coercion be rational? My mother was afraid that he would really do something to me, so she had to take me out of the city and live somewhere else. Then why did he suddenly come to you now? Kidney transplant. Oh. His son has uremia, and he asked me to do a match. If it's a match, I'll give his son a kidney. I didn't agree, and today's incident happened. I felt cold all over. Is this still a human being? This is a dirty and despicable blood-sucking worm that has lost even the most basic humanity. I tried hard to think of a solution. From today's live broadcast, it seems that he has a supporter behind him. The gimmicks are great and he is professional. Yeah, I felt that too. What are you going to do now? I don't know. I thought about clarifying it, but that would mean I would have to make public what happened to my mother. This is a difficult issue for the elders. Ethan loves his mother very much and would definitely not want to do this. Sister, let's separate, he said dejectedly. It's no secret that I'm with you. Brandon will find you sooner or later. I don't want to drag you down, not at all. 19. I didn't accept Ethan's proposal. My little dog was bullied outside. What I have to do is help him fight back, not abandon him. Sophie has found someone and temporarily blocked Brandon's live broadcast room. He changed to posting pictures, texts, and videos. The text is extremely inflammatory. I absolutely don't believe that there is no one behind it. It will be easy if we have a pusher. Within 3 days, the truth about the driving force behind the company was revealed. Under Sullivan's strong pressure, the company immediately decided not to cooperate with Brandon. After losing his promoter, Brandon posted his own stuff, and netizens discovered many contradictions and inconsistencies in his posts. It's not over yet. With my encouragement, Ethan posted a clarification anyway. But the part about his mother's experience was temporarily omitted. Public opinion gradually reversed. At the same time, we called the police. Thanks to Brandon's excessive hype, the police investigation was accelerated. Less than a week later, the police issued a notice with white letters on a blue background. What Ethan said is true. He and Brandon are only biological father and son. Brandon hadn't called him in 20 years. He didn't receive a penny in child support. This live show is to force Ethan to get a kidney transplant. In addition, Brandon is suspected of manipulating public opinion, spreading rumors and fraud, and the crime of coercion. He will face further investigation. The entire internet was in an uproar. The filial sons who spoke up for Brandon were badly slapped in the face. The whole thing, from its inception to its end, took no more than a week. Not long. But only Ethan himself knew how painful it was. Questions from classmates and abuse from netizens. He also had to put on a smile in front of his seriously ill mother and be on guard at all times, fearing that she would see the news. This week has almost worn off his skin. The police report came out that evening. Ethan finally let go of the burden. 20. But we didn't expect it. This matter is not completely over yet. Brandon was temporarily detained by police. There is no hope for his precious son to get a kidney transplant. On Friday night, Ethan worked in a restaurant. An unexpected guest arrived. The woman ordered a bowl of soup. When Ethan brought the soup, she asked, "Are you Ethan?" Ethan answered automatically, "It's me." The woman suddenly went crazy and poured the whole pot of hot soup on Ethan. I happened to witness this scene when I entered the store. Ethan's neck and the back of his hands were exposed and instantly turned red from the burns. That's not enough. The woman rushed to the next table, grabbed the food on the table and threw it all at Ethan's head. "Why don't you give my son a kidney? Now you want to get my husband in too. You bastard. You owe us. It must be your mother who seduced my husband. Otherwise, how could my husband fall in love with her?" The obscene language is unbearable to hear. I rushed over, picked up the bag and hit her directly on the back of the head. The crazy woman was stunned by my beating. "Who are you?" "I'm Ethan's girlfriend." "Hey, a guy like this can still find a girlfriend." Before I finished speaking, I gave her a few more big dicks. I hit her so hard that she couldn't fight back and she tried to run away, covering her head. But how could I let her run away? When I entered the door, I notified the police station as quickly as possible. As soon as the woman ran out the door, Uncle had arrived. She will also be detained for provoking disturbances and intentionally injuring others. After dealing with the woman, I turned to look at Ethan. Oh no, my puppy seems to be autistic again. 21. Ethan stood there motionless. There were vegetables and egg flowers hanging on his body. Drops of hot soup flowed down from the ends of her hair. It's so dirty. The skin was also burned and painful. There were many onlookers, including colleagues, but everyone watched from a distance and no one came forward. Working part-time these days, Ethan felt it. Even though the police have cleared his name, people still don't want to have anything to do with him. Humans are such complex creatures. You can talk as much as you want online, but it's better to keep quiet offline. He heard whispers. Well, maybe we should just fire him. That's right. If we leave him here, there might be trouble like this in the future. Anyway, I don't really believe the police's announcement. How can a father be blameless if he is forced to that extent? Shua, keep your voice down so he can't hear you. Ethan felt angry and embarrassed. He was like an island isolated from everyone. Just at this moment, someone broke through the criticism and held his hand tightly. Does it hurt? I looked up at him, my eyes full of heartache. 22. I took Ethan to the hospital first. Fortunately, the burns were not serious and would not leave scars. I also accompanied him to the police station to take a statement. The police asked him to think about reconciliation. Ethan turned to look at me. I'm torn. It wasn't her fault, it was Brandon, but she insulted my mom. No, she is an accomplice. I explained. Brandon destroyed someone's life, and she's putting the blame on the victim. That's accessory behavior. Ethan finally decided not to reconcile. It was already evening when I came out of the police station. The moon is bright and the stars are sparse. I asked him, "What are you going to do with this part-time job?" I quit. It just so happened that I got an internship offer from a securities company, and I was planning to quit my part-time job next week. It is a large securities firm, and even if the graduates try their best, they may not be able to get in. Ethan's outstanding academic performance enabled him to obtain a 3-month internship during the summer vacation. It was not easy for him to get to where he is today. I said sincerely, "Congratulations, you should wear a suit and tie every day from now on." That's right. Ethan suddenly pulled out a necklace from his pocket. I'm familiar with this brand and it's expensive. I bought you this gift from my part-time job salary. What a coincidence. I just recently became interested in this one, and was planning to buy it tomorrow. I immediately pulled off the necklace from my neck. Ethan put the new necklace on me with his red hands. His eyes were bright like a pure spring. How do you like it? I like it very much. I took his hand and said, "Let's go home." 23. At night, Ethan was awakened by a nightmare. I stood up and poured him a glass of water. I'm sorry for waking you. It's okay. I won't be working tomorrow. What nightmare did you have? Tell me about it. Ethan hesitated. Nothing. Even if you don't tell me, I can guess it. He laughed. How is that possible? You dreamed that your mother didn't want you when you were a child, right? Ethan looked at me in astonishment. I told you I can guess. How did you know? Because I know you. Ethan, you always feel that you shouldn't be in this world. You regard yourself as the source of your mother's pain. What you fear most is that even your mother doesn't want you anymore. You have worked hard to study and be a good child since you were a child just to make her happy, right? Ethan's breathing was rapid, a sign of emotional excitement. All correct. I reached out and touched his hair. Your worries are unnecessary. She is an amazing woman. She raised you tenderly and made you such an outstanding person. In the darkness, Ethan said nothing. He rested his face on my thighs. Let me comb his soft short hair with my fingers. Sister, I always have a crazy idea. What? If I let go of half of my blood, will I become cleaner? You were originally clean. He took a breath and buried his face deeper. After a while, I felt wetness on my legs. They were Ethan's tears. My puppy lowered his head and cried quietly. Jenna. Thank you for understanding me. 24. Sophie once said that her younger brother suddenly stopped calling her sister. That's the sign that he loves you madly. Since starting his internship, Ethan rarely calls me sister. She only screams once or twice occasionally when she's flirting on purpose in bed. Our lives returned to normal. Brandon and his people didn't come to bother us again. But one day when I was coming out of the company, I ran into Simon unexpectedly. He was talking to Ethan. Ethan picked me up from Get Off Work today. He was wearing a suit and his legs were long and straight, making him stand out in the crowd. Neither of them saw me. I went around the door and happened to hear their conversation. Simon said, "Jenna just treats you like a dog. Do you really think she likes you?" Ethan was unmoved. "Even dogs have favored and unfavored ones. Brother, just look at my current situation, and you will know that dating a playboy like her will not end well." Ethan sneered. 28 is an old woman. You won't live to be 28? Or are you ready to die at 30? Simon choked on him. Fuck, what on earth did Jenna feed you to make you so obsessed? You are the same. I'm different from you. Then what did you come to see her for? I'm looking for her. You want to get back together with her, right? Ethan saw through it immediately. You can't hide it from me. Simon felt guilty but denied it. No, I don't want it. Ethan interrupted. Since Jenna and I got together, I have been confused about one thing. How could you, Simon, have the heart to break up with her? She is so nice, considerate, calm and smart. Where else can you find a girlfriend like her? But luckily you were blind, which gave me the opportunity to take advantage of her. Provoked by him, Simon got angry. You're fucking blind. She just has a few bucks. I can't stand her arrogance the most. If you had money, you'd be even more arrogant than her. Also, when things don't go well for her at work, she likes to lose her temper. Isn't that a shortcoming? Losing your temper is cute. You should release the pressure when you are stressed. Sometimes she is unsatisfied and like a madman. Simon realized he shouldn't have said that and stopped talking. Ethan suddenly sneered. On the contrary, I think she gets tired too easily. I feel sorry for her and don't dare to push her too hard. Simon, don't blame women if you can't do it yourself. Simon was getting mad and asked loudly, Ethan, you said you wouldn't even talk about an 8-year-old dog. Ethan said expressionlessly, Woof. 25. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, Ethan graduated from his senior year. I have been with him for 2 years. He started his business in the second semester of his junior year and accumulated abilities and wealth, but compared with Sullivan, it is far from enough. On the day his mother recovered completely, I laid out the original relationship agreement. Until the mother is discharged from hospital, both parties have the right to end the relationship. Ethan was confused. What do you mean? The end. This is what you proposed back then. I was ignorant at that time. You already have money, and your aunt has been discharged from the hospital. Ethan swayed and almost fell. He grabbed my wrist and said in a trembling voice, What do you mean? I'm asking you, Jenna, what do you mean? You don't want me anymore. Ethan, I told him word by word, I'm going on a blind date. I'm 30 years old. If I want to secure my position as a shareholder of Sullivan, I need a helper. And Ethan, for the time being, can't help me. Last month, my father proposed a blind date. I have an older brother above me and a younger brother below me. Each of them is more suitable than me to inherit the family business and to be the largest shareholder. But I'm going to fight for it. I want to be the heir. Ambition and Ethan, you can't have both now. I thought about it for a month and finally I chose my ambition. Ethan almost collapsed. I can help you. Just wait for me. When I finish this project, the company will be bigger, and I will definitely be able to help you then. It's too late. Actually, I also miss Ethan. He is the younger brother I have been in love with the longest. Growing up, I have already regarded him as my real boyfriend. But to me, love is not as important as career. Please give me some more time. I said apologetically. I'm sorry, I need to move forward and cannot stay where I am. Ethan rushed over to me like crazy and tore off my clothes and skirt. He was more ferocious than ever before, leaving marks on my body wantonly, as if he wanted to eat me alive. I understand his pain. I accept the storms and rain. We stayed up all night, and I left quietly at sunrise the next day. Blind date is a game and an exchange of resources. During every meal with the blind date, we would clink glasses and talk only about interests, never about love. Cooperation reached. I got married quickly. Please don't be surprised. Since I have chosen ambition, I must bear all of this. On the wedding day, someone said that Ethan had been there. I didn't see him, but I seemed to see his back. During the 6 months of separation, he grew up rapidly. He is like a terrible root system, madly absorbing nutrients and constantly growing himself in his company. He is growing faster than anyone expected. Half a year after my marriage, I became Sullivan's largest shareholder as I wished. I still don't have much to talk about with my husband, but I know he is plotting against me. Our marriage is full of interests, so it's not surprising that he would scheme against me. If he had been more restrained, I would have pretended not to know. But he was too greedy. He actually wanted to take a share of the soup from me. Doesn't he know that if it weren't for this piece of cake, I would never marry him? He can't even hold a finger against Ethan. Why did I think of Ethan again? I looked out the window a little tiredly. The intrigues and schemes are about to come to an end. Today either I live or my husband dies. Always have to win one. The atmosphere at the shareholders' meeting was extremely tense, and no one was willing to give in. My husband devised an elaborate plan that almost drove me to death. Just when he was about to win, suddenly someone pushed the door open. Ethan stood at the door and slowly announced, "Mr. Finch, prepare for crisis public relations." The husband was stunned. Immediately afterwards, his and his subordinates' phones started ringing nonstop as if they were exploding. The latest product launched by his family company has been pushed to the forefront for allegedly stealing ideas and deceiving consumers. You! He glared at Ethan. You did this. Are you Jenna's ex-boyfriend? Ethan smiled non-committally. The wind blew the curtains away and he strode towards me. This scene reminded me of when he participated in the competition. In the same way, he ran towards the finish line with me in high spirits. Sister, can I divorce him now? Ethan half knelt beside my legs, his eyes sincere. 26. Finch is always caught up in public relations crises and is overwhelmed. On the day of our divorce, he pointed at my nose and cursed. You have been plotting against me from the beginning. You just found out about this? I said in surprise. You shouldn't be so stupid. Have you become stupid from having so many mistresses? He wanted to take action, so I just threw a stack of photos at him. They are all images of him having secret meetings with women outside. If you don't want these photos to be exposed, just be honest and get a divorce. He no longer acted rashly. If the scandal breaks out at this time, their family company will be completely doomed. I successfully obtained the divorce certificate. In order to buy the photos, Mr. Finch paid me a large sum of hush money. I got married and divorced quickly, and some people said I was a joke in the circle. But I don't care, and neither does Ethan. What era is this? Why are people still using the shackles of marriage to mock women? Ethan asked me as if to take credit. Did I play well this time? Great, you're worthy of being my friend for 2 years. I kissed him. Ethan is always the best. Thanks for your teaching. In the past, Ethan followed me and learned a lot. He is smart and fights business battles beautifully and without leaving any trace. Ethan hugged me, sat on him and kissed me all over my body obsessively. We messed up the living room. He held me in his arms and walked into the bedroom. With every step I took, my heart skipped a beat and I could feel his burning heat firsthand. Is he the 13th? Who? After regaining some of my senses, I realized that he was asking about my ex-husband. The puppy is jealous again. No, he's not. I think he's dirty, so I won't let him touch him. You're the last one. Ethan's gloom was gone. Did you miss me? Think. I miss you too. A deep voice whispered in my ear. I've been holding it in for a year, sister, please love me. He took my hand and guided it down from my abs. Sister, this is what I do when I miss you. We sank into the darkness, revisiting each other's bodies. After his long-held desire was released, Ethan's eyes became even redder, like a hungry ghost. Sister, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you, Jenna. He continued to murmur. I said, I love you too. 27. Later I told Ethan. When I got married quickly, I was already prepared for divorce. My original plan was to divorce him after becoming the largest shareholder, and then get back together with him. Ethan was a little surprised. So, I have always been in your plan? Yes. Why didn't you tell me? If I told you in advance, you might have slacked off, and you wouldn't have been able to grow so quickly, and you wouldn't have been able to perform this cooperation well. Aya, I've been sad for a year. You deserve it. It's your fault that you disliked me so much before. When have I ever disliked you? 8 years older than you, but you don't even talk to dogs. I said this quietly. Ethan was stunned. How did you know? That day, Simon forgot to hang up the voice chat. I heard everything you said. I was wrong. Actually, I said that to mock Simon. I couldn't stand his behavior of giving skins to his schoolgirl even though he has a girlfriend. It was really not directed at you. I know, it's all in the past. Because of that sentence, my initial impression of Ethan was that he was lazy and arrogant. Approaching him does indeed mean that you want to have fun and then dump him. But after getting to know him more deeply, I found that he was not that kind of person. He deserves to be treated sincerely. Elder sister. Ethan suddenly took out his diamond ring and knelt on one knee. Marry me, okay? I asked calmly. Have you thought it through? I'm 8 years older than you, and this is your second marriage. I've already thought about it. This isn't a problem. He kissed the back of my hand. Jenna, please let me love you forever. The sunset is beautiful today, just like the day he stopped my car. I smiled and said, good. End of full text.